European Rallycross, or in the States as it's called Super Rally, is kind of a high-energy sport. It's where you take basically 6 rally cars, and instead of running out on the stages or doing a super special stage like at X Games, you actually put them side by side, and they all launch together. And so the start is very important. The cars are insane. I don't think it's possible to describe how fast the little cars are. They go 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds. And they have 600 horsepower, and they're all-wheel drive and sequential gearbox, and the list goes on. They're really amazing cars. But when you put them side by side, there's all kinds of pushing, and it's half gravel, so there's a lot of sliding and mud flying everywhere, and there's half asphalt, so the speeds are pretty incredible. Here in Portugal, in round 1, the speeds are over 115 miles an hour on the straightaway, and still half the track is gravel. So it's a very intense sport that uses some incredibly wicked little cars. It's basically a 2-day event, and European-style rallycross, there's sometimes 200 cars show up, and they have to be narrowed down in heats of qualifying to an A final, a B final, a C final, etc. So essentially, we're about to go out for a practice run that's not timed, and then we'll do a timed qualifying run that will determine what heat we go in. And then we have 3 qualifying heats that will determine whether we're in the A final or the B final. If the cars aren't aggressive enough in Super Rally, the drivers add, fuel to the flame there. The drivers here are incredibly aggressive. If you've ever been to Orlando and you've seen very angry tourists driving through Orlando cutting each other off, that's just a little bit of what you can expect in Super Rally. Everybody's mad at each other, it seems like. And there are hardly any rules. So you basically are shoving the car into any little spot. In order to build a successful rallycross car, especially as the sport Super Rally comes to the States, needs to have a few critical elements. First of all, you can see the car has a lot of carbon fiber. Everything is very, very lightweight. This is actually the shifting mechanism, making sure it's not running. This actually changes gears. That's first, that's second, third, and back down again. This big giant thing here is a handbrake. And because the cars are 4-wheel drive, sometimes it's difficult to get them to turn into the corner, so you can just give a tug to that handbrake and it locks the rear tires and makes the car rotate very quickly, and then you go straight back onto the gas. So from the outside, it looks like just kind of a beefed up Fiesta, but on the inside you can see it is actually an amazing little race car. This car is all about performance, so the driver has moved as far back as possible. You can see how long this steering column is, but this is actually pretty interesting right here. This is the launch control. So when you're on the line, you choose what RPM you want to launch at. That's 5,800, that's 6,800, 67, 66. So it's depending on how much traction there is, you can actually, if it's a very, very high grip, maybe you need to dump the clutch at 7,000 RPM. So you rev it up to 7,000. You push this red button on the steering wheel, go full throttle, it goes what, and then you dump the clutch, and it's 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. It's pretty awesome. These are just wiper functions, which in traffic you need the different speed wipers, the sprayers, and from the driver's seat, it's all here. It's all business. Another thing that separates this Fiesta, the Rockstar Fiesta, from a normal street Fiesta is that, for weight balance, the radiator is actually in the rear. So this is the radiator with huge fans that blow air out of the vents that are in the rear trunk, and they draw the air in these vents on the side of the car. It's kind of difficult to see them, but you can see these vents right here where a back door would be, draw the air in. So it puts all of that, the coolant and all of the weight of that in the rear of the car, giving it that 50-50 weight distribution. And if you look close here in the suspension, you can see, of course, there's a drive shaft because it's a rear-wheel drive car. All of this is specially designed just for rallycross, just for maximum acceleration. But being all-wheel drive is something that, of course, you can't buy the Fiesta with all-wheel drive. But for the Division I class, which is the top class in rallycross, all-wheel drive is the only way to go. MSC has built their own version of the Fiesta motor. Now, in the Fiesta, you get a 2-liter engine, which doesn't sound like I could say that this is the heart of the beast with just 2 liters. But when you add this turbocharger to the 2 liters and then the special engine that MSC has built, this Garrett Turbo is producing almost 60 pounds of boost. About just over 50 pounds of boost. It's incredible to make 600 horsepower at the wheels. So for an all-wheel drive car, that makes this little Fiesta one of the quickest race cars with doors on the planet.
The level of competition is unbelievable. In England, I did a test, and we basically had the track to ourselves, and then there was a British Championship where there was maybe 6 or 7 cars at the top level. Here, there are 20 or 30 cars, and you walk around the paddock, and every one of them is as well prepared as the Olsberg's car is. So it's really incredible. The teams are very, very organized, and the joking among drivers stopped last night. This morning, everybody's dead serious, and makes me a little nervous. The track is not difficult to learn, but the style of driving is, I think. Door to door, pushing with the other drivers, learning personalities of other competitors. So I'll try to learn which ones are the aggressive ones and try to learn how to get speed out of such an angry little car. Basically, the Super Rally cars have about twice as much horsepower as the rally cars and twice as much torque. There's almost 700-800 foot-pounds of torque coming out of these cars and 600 horsepower. They're unbelievably fast, and the feeling from the driver's seat is that you're sitting on like some animal, just a crazed animal that is trying to kill you. And so your job is to basically try to pull the reins and calm it down, but it's a hyperactive little car.
It's a very short amount of practice in the Rallycross, so we've identified a couple suspension tuning things. I was getting a lot of understeer, and so I was overcompensating by driving sideways, which I obviously tend to do a lot. But in the last session, developed a little bit more patience. We made some changes in the right direction. We have some more changes to make before the time practice, so crossing fingers. With the Rallycross, you have so few laps, there's not a lot of time to adjust for anything. And so if you're making a mistake, or if you're, in my case, if my technique is not ideal, and I watch somebody else go through the course and their technique is different and they're faster, then I have to do that the very next lap. There's really no time to learn something. So for me, I have, I've only got maybe 10 laps on the track, and I have to absolutely change my technique in order to go quick. One of the things I like about driving is trying different things, road racing or drifting or this or that, and so maybe my mentality is a little bit too excited and too much like drifting right now, and I can hear the crowd likes it here in Portugal. They're loving sideways action and tire smoke, but it's not quick, so I think I have to change it. It's very difficult to pass on the track. So once the car gets out in front, you have a big advantage over the guys behind you. Now, to neutralize some of that advantage, there is something called a joker lap. And the joker lap is essentially an extra corner that each car has to do one time during the race, and it takes an extra 2 or 3 seconds or so. So basically everybody's going to be stuck behind somebody at some point, trying to even the field out a little bit. The perfect race would be to launch out in front, build a lead that's more than 3 seconds, and then on the last lap do the joker lap and still pop out in first just barely, and that's kind of the ideal win. At one point I was behind somebody and he was always sideways, and I bumped him a little bit because he was going
no problem, but bump it slowly.
Yeah. That was the first heat that I've done in the European Championship, and aggressive. Lots of aggressive guys. I think I got behind a couple cars who were battling and very sideways, but I got in trouble also. The stewards came and told me that I was too sideways or I was being too aggressive some places, but I think I actually have to be more aggressive in order to keep up with everybody. I felt like the 2 cars that were in the lead of the heat were quicker than me. The 2 cars that were just in front of me, I was quicker than on the gravel part of the track. And I could always get right behind them, and then they would make a mistake and know that I was there and jump over real quick. And at one point, one of them put me over into the barrier pretty good. But I pushed him back because I'm new in the series, and I think you have to let people know that it's that I'm there. But it was a good learning experience. I know the level of aggression for tomorrow, and I'll, drink a bunch of Rockstar so that I can get there.
The speed he has in his body is no worries. The car control is no worries. So really has to, focus on the start. That is a big thing. And also the head-to-head race and with alternative lap. So, of course, he will have a little struggle with that in the beginning, but this is a fast learning guy.